I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Budget Committee. 10:17. We'll start with a roll call.
Mark Lemay, Selectman's Rep.
Lisa Jukes.
Shea Senate.
Joe Spurl.
Liz Mitchell.
Diane McCarthy.
Ruth Gage.
Sonny Tremblay.
Lee Sperry. Brian Lewis.
Guy Karen.
And I'm Peter Georgiantis. Excused is Elizabeth. She can't make it this evening. And Richard Fletcher. I received communications from both of them. Starting with, we'll start with public comment. I don't see any public here, so we'll skip right over that. Next thing would be is approval of minutes from the last meeting. Did everybody get their minutes?
Mm-hmm.
There was an issue. Okay. I sent a correction. I don't know if it got done, Guy, on you.
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay. That you were excused?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else in the minutes? Motion? Go ahead, Guy.
The revised ones still don't show me excused.
Really?
The ones you sent on.
It didn't.
Pardon me?
It didn't.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's in the record now that you were excused, so.
Okay.
And I'll make sure it gets redone again. Did you make a motion? Motion by Shay, seconded by
I'll second it.
Lisa. All in favor of approving the minutes from, is that
9/19.
9/19? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining?
Abstaining.
3 abstentions. Show Brian Fournier arriving. Go ahead.
For Joanne's sake, maybe you want to verbalize who abstained, so she can, in case you didn't see it.
Brian Lewis, Ruth Gage, and Guy Karen. How's that?
That's a matter of money, man.
Yeah, good. Okay. I'd like to, as we discussed before the meeting, kind of people would like to get out as soon as possible, so we'll get right into the heart of things. I guess we can start with Lisa and the department report.
Okay, yeah, I didn't meet with Frank, but we corresponded via email and phone. He just talked a little bit about his upcoming budget. His maintenance costs are going to be up a little bit because the building is older, it gets a lot of use. And the only other thing that he mentioned that might be a little bit out of the ordinary is cost for U.S. history textbooks. I think they're textbooks for an AP class. The curriculum has changed due to an audit, and the audit requires a specific textbook. The other thing we talked about was he gave me his cell phone, and he said that if people have questions during the meeting, I could text him immediately and get answers. So I thought that was pretty cool of him to do. What else did I have?
The only problem with that is if I remember last year when we had the presentation, he had to keep going to somebody else to get the answers. So
That could be a problem, yeah. I mean, I think some of the budget questions Ray would be able to answer.
Yep.
About salaries and stuff like that. I don't think he really gets into that too much from our discussions. But will Ray be here for some of those nights?
He will.
Okay.
he'll probably be here every night, wouldn't he?
I would think so. I mean, I've set the expectation, and of course, if it comes down that you don't need them, I'm sure that they would opt to not come. But, we have presented the dates and set the expectation that they might be needed.
Well, while we brought that up, I'd like to just give you what my idea was on what we're going to do. We're doing Wednesdays and Thursdays this year. That's what we decided to do. I want to schedule the town departments on Wednesdays and the school departments on Thursdays, so they don't have to come, those department heads or those people in charge don't have to be here 2 nights in a row. That's our problem. We made the schedule, not them. So. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I think you said that last meeting.
So school's going to be on Thursday night, and we'll do the town on a Wednesday night. And I do want to do aggressive, like I want to do 2 nights of presentations. And then that gives us more time to deliberate and go back over stuff.
And we're still gonna get the budget from them on the 4th?
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
That
sorry.
was really all we really talked about. I mean, we talked about some of the things that were going on at the school, but they really weren't budget related. Kneecap, college fair that went on there, and that was really it. So he did give me his cell phone, and also Kim McCann's cell phone. She might be someone that might be able to answer questions as well. If Diane can't and Ray can't, if they're not here. So, as opposed to you asking me a question, me asking him a question, me coming back type
Yeah,
thing.
hopefully we won't have to do that.
But I was just
Last year
throwing
they
it
were
out
both
there. Huh?
Last year, they were both here.
Right,
They had a
for their
pretty
night.
Good representation.
It was a good team, too. I mean, between the both of them, I think we got everything answered that we had any questions. So.
I think so.
So that was it.
Okay. Jay?
I don't have any updates from Maple Ave, but I know Suzanne's going to be presenting her budget soon to the school boards that plan on trying to make it over for that meeting, so I can hear about that. And nothing looks out of the ordinary really on the reports.
Okay.
I don't have anything new on the library, but I'm embarrassed to say I have to correct a couple of mistakes I made last time. I said that GMILCS stands for Greater Manchester Interlibrary Cooperative System, but I should have used the past tense. That's what it used to stand for, but for legal reasons, they had to drop the use of the word cooperative, so now they just say GMILCS, and it doesn't mean anything. So, and I had mistakenly thought that it was connected to the state library and the interlibrary loan service run out of there, but I was wrong. It's a private nonprofit that's run by its members, who are just the towns around Manchester, and it has no connection to the state. And then I got the GMILCS dues wrong. It wasn't 5,000. It was an increase of 2,431, and so the increase for the 2014 budget is going to be just under 2,500. So I apologize for those mistakes.
Okay.
So the only update for Parks and Rec is deliberation over the field, the Lions field, where the kids have their sports. And the Lions, they're losing money on the property, and they're looking to possibly sell the property. And they're going to go before the school board to try to see if the school board is willing to lease the property once they sell it. And I guess they're going to go, they were going to go this week and discuss it, but I don't have the details on that.
Who was going to lease it to the school?
The Lions were hoping to sell
Okay.
and then lease it.
Sell to who, though?
They didn't give me the details on that. But they wanted to sell and possibly give the money to the Bernard Kilton property.
Okay.
My understanding was I think of the Tri-State Soccer League or something like that. They were
Tri-Town.
Tri-Town or whatever.
It's like
We're trying to
SAU,
possibly do something with
Tri-Town.
that. Or
Yeah.
I had watched your meeting and
You watched?
yeah, that's,
Yeah. It's involving several parties right now. and
Exactly.
It's just in conversational status as far as between the district,
Yeah.
Parks and Rec. Tri-Town uses it, just trying to figure out what any options are. Last we knew, Lions were waiting to get a real estate appraisal and to determine what the value of the land was. And that was going to educate their decision a little bit better as far as what they might want to do with it and be willing to do with it. They talked about donations, they talked about selling, a couple different ideas being bounced around.
Okay, thank you. Ruthie?
Oh, no, I have more.
Oh, no, I'm going to do you guys at the end.
Like I just usurped her time, but
Okay. No, I was going to
You'll
wait
come back?
to you two guys at the end.
awesome.
Okay, the administration budget is going along as planned. They're about at 72% of their budget as of the end of September. One problem area that they do have is in legal fees. And Sue said that it seems like everybody in the world wants to sue the town. So she will be asking for an increase for 2014. The special article things have all been paid. They're 100% outdone, and other than that, it's all running smooth.
Thank you. Sonny?
Bartlett School, nothing major going on over there. They were in the middle of testing last week,
so they were kind of busy running around when I was there. But, and David, I guess, met with the SAU superintendent September 30th to go over his budget that he proposed, so I don't know what's transpired there. But other than that, everything is running smooth, nice and quiet in that school. You go in there, and maybe because of the testing, you know, you could hear a pin drop. But other than that, everything seems to be running pretty good over there.
Lee?
Haven't met with Carl, but I know the project's going on. Pleasant Street's wrapped up. They are working on Addison Road, and they just started clearing trees across from the county, on the county property for that culvert project. So,
Who's doing that project?
I'm not sure. I didn't recognize the company.
Okay.
You know?
They bid it out. I'm not sure who the company is, but Carl is going to watch that project very close.
Okay.
Right.
What was the bid? Was it lower than it was expected? I know we had budgeted.
It came in a little bit lower than expected, only because the town of Goffstown is providing the necessary fill to make the road out of the stuff we just got crushed out of the pit, rather than have this company truck this stuff. Carl has worked a deal out, and he's managed to save us a considerable chunk of change. So they're going to use the fill that's in the town pit to make the road in and all that stuff.
How, if we made a deal, that scares me when we make a deal. Well, I mean, don't say, wow. Is this guy purchasing the product from the town?
Yes, it's all part of the bid process.
Okay, and the revenues from that purchase go where?
I believe they're gonna go back into the town budget, into the general fund. They should go back into the general fund.
Okay, so is that money going to be used to offset the cost of that project?
That I can't answer. I'm not 100% sure on that answer.
If possible, I'll invite the accounting on that next meeting.
Yep, we can do that.
Anything else, Lee? Brian?
Nope.
Pretty much on target with all the lines with the fire department. Pretty much status quo for this year. Next year they're looking to, they'll be presenting the new buildings to us, and they've had some plans drawn up. They have spent about $18,350 to have the plans drawn up of each building, 17, 18, and 19. And everything's going to be in the form of an addition versus redoing the whole configuration of the buildings. They are going to be focusing on energy efficiency and prepping for future solar panel technology. So, and those funds were paid for by impact fees. They're looking at $4.5 million on all three, and the 20-year bond is around 4.5% roughly. So they will be presenting those to us, I believe, this year, and go at it. And then there is a little bit of uncertainty as to how they're going to be treating their part-time firefighters. We have 55 part-time firefighters in the insurance, and how the new laws are going to come into effect. Some of those, technically, to be part-time, you have to be under the new law under 29 hours, or 29 hours or less. If you're on a call and you have to stay on call, and if that average goes over 30, the whole town might be able to have to think about how we're going to be paying our insurance and budgeting for insurance down the road.
So is it based on weekly, or is it based on a yearly average?
I think it's a yearly average. That's how they work it. But they may work. I'm not sure. He'll have that in his presentation. How they're actually. I guess the message is a little bit of uncertainty as to how we're going to go forward with insurance.
I sat down with Chief Sullivan. His current budget is tracking as predicted for 2013. The only major things he's looking at for for this budget season is that he was requesting 3 new cruisers, but I think you guys have already removed one from CIP?
Correct.
Okay. His major thing, and I don't know how many of you have been reading the papers, but he's going to be looking for an additional officer, and he's going to be making a pretty good case for it. Just auto thefts and thefts from autos is up 200% from January to this year compared to January to October 9 of last year. So that's his only major additional expense he's going to be looking for.
Okay. With something like that, when somebody says something's up 200%, past experience, I look at more incidents, count of incidents than percentages, because, you know, vehicle thefts, you could go from 1 to 2 and have a...
I actually have the numbers if you want.
Oh, okay, well, we can, that's when the budget time comes, so that's what
Okay.
I would look, that's one of the numbers I would be looking for.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point here, up until October 9th, vehicle thefts have gone from 2 to 6. Thefts from motor vehicles has gone from 31 to 92. In fact, they,
This year?
It's ridiculous.
yeah,
That's
from
been the big
January to October 9th.
Any particular area?
Penard,
Well, they used my driveway to stake someone out recently.
Really?
So, I mean, I know it's been all up and down my street, and I know it's been all over Penardville too. You know, so,
That's pretty crazy. Like even they tried to break in my brother's place across the street from mine, right
Really?
on Patty Hill.
yeah.
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, so the numbers are, you know, I can see what you're saying, you know, you go from 2 auto thefts to 6, but when you look at the break-ins in vehicles,
well,
that
that's...
31 and 92 kind of opened my eyes anyways.
And I know,
Go ahead.
in speaking with the police chief, they've made an arrest of 3
Yeah.
people in Penardville, and whether they slows down or continues remains to be seen, but they did manage to get 3 people.
Yeah, and they've picked up some others as well. For what it's worth, the amount he's going to be asking for, I don't have the number, but it's going to be a 6-month, because by the time the budget's approved, there's no way he's going to get anybody on the force before, you know, the middle of the year.
That's normally...
So, yeah, so this year, if approved, it would be a 6-month hit, and then next year it's full-time.
So you look at a $40,000 the first year, but then after that, it's an $80,000.
Yeah.
It's the long term. All right, anything else?
Nope.
That's it. Hey, I had a nice conversation with Leslie Doster, and we talked about class sizes.
This is Glen Lake, right?
Glen Lake, I'm sorry, yeah, Glen Lake. And we talked about class sizes and how things were going in the building, because, as she reminded me, it's almost 10 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
Doesn't seem like it's that long, does it? And it's gonna start needing some, you know, upkeep. She's very happy with her class size of 17 to 18 students. The swing from last year to this year was only 2 students. She anticipates the same thing for next year. So budget-wise, looking into the future, there shouldn't be a lot, except for maybe some maintenance items. They lost some funding from the state. They were getting a grant for $3,500. Well, it was cut to $1,700. One of the things that she brought up to me was, I don't know if anybody ever participated in the Hannaford, where you put the ticket in Hannaford. Have you seen that? And the school, one of the schools will get some money. Well, they got $1,000 from Hannaford on that, which was surprising. But hey, if she gets it, you know, little kids always get all the attention, don't they? So other than that, there was. I had a couple questions that I was going to ask Diane, because I really didn't want to get into salaries and things with her so much. Maybe you could help me with.
Pete, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So they lost, did you say $3,500 grant? For what?
No, it was cut.
It was cut, but what was it being used for?
Supplies.
Okay.
It was something, kind of a kindergarten type preschool grant, and it used to be $3,500 for supplies, and now it's $17,000.
Sorry.
But she's turned around and hit up the parents' organization for some help, plus the $1,000 she got from Hannaford. So, my question, Diane, was on teachers' salaries, we overspent, not a lot, but a little. And then on workman's comp, there's a charge in there, an over expenditure in workman's comp that I wasn't sure. Is that fees? Is that gonna be an occurring thing?
You know, I'm super sorry, but I can't answer.
I
don't know.
asked the same
But
thing
I
at the
can-
high school,
Well,
and I asked Ray.
Would you come up?
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, no,
I
you're
had
good.
sent this in an email to Frank, and Frank sent it to Ray, and Ray got back to me today right before I came here. And he just wanted the function numbers. Because I saw it in special ed, I saw it in guidance, I saw it in, I don't know. So I sent him the functions, and he said he'd get back to me. So they might all be connected?
So, Mike, that was my question. Is it an incident or a fee? That's,
I'll check. I don't want to pull it out of the air. I'd rather know for sure.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I
But
don't
that
know.
was one of the questions I had. I didn't want to, I don't know how much the principals are allowed to get into that kind of a detail, so I didn't,
Yeah.
Did you have another question also?
no, that was it.
Okay.
There's some salary lines that were over expended and the workman's comp.
Do you want me to answer it next meeting, or do you? want
That's
me
fine,
to
no,
contact-
that's fine.
No, he's talking.
Or, you know, you can email it if you want, doesn't make a difference. Brian, you know, CIP's all wrapped up, but
Yeah, I have nothing to say.
already said it, right?
Yeah, I already talked about it. You got anything that's changed on it since it hit you guys?
No, we're gonna have 3 or 4 workshops coming up this month, the 22nd, 29th, the 30th, and I think there's a couple more, but offhand, those are the ones that I remember, and they're posted upstairs. We're gonna work our workshop so that we can get things on track and hopefully.
But didn't you already say you already eliminated a cruiser from
Well,
CIP?
we started. We haven't gone completely into it. We've looked at a couple of things. We're picking a section of this at every meeting, and we're adding the extra meetings so that we can thoroughly go through the entire budget, thoroughly go through CIP, thoroughly go through everything and make any adjustments.
Sure.
But yes, we did unfortunately remove the one cruiser.
Okay,
Oh, I got a question.
go ahead.
Is that, what's going on with that command post?
I have no idea. He didn't bring it up.
I was just curious, like,
No.
where it was at.
His big focus was on an additional officer.
I'm just curious if that was just coming in, or
We ordered it.
what stage it's at, or, well, it was approved last year, so it
That's what
should be,
right, that's what I thought.
that's why I'm asking.
I don't know, I can find out. I'm presuming if it was approved, they picked it up, but
You know,
I don't know.
I haven't seen it or anything, and then plus we have two new cruisers that should be showing up at some point too. So I was just curious where they are.
I'll find out for you, Brent.
Mark, do you have anything that,
No, basically, as we all know, it's budget season. We're reviewing budgets. We've added extra meetings, workshops, so that we can meet the deadline of the budget, so that we can present it. And, I mean, we're pretty much on track. Our goal is to try to keep taxes down, keep money down, and, you know, effectively provide provide good services for the town so that nobody will suffer in the long run.
are there any plans to hit the unexpended revenues again this year?
We've talked about it, and that's one of the discussions that we plan to have in our upcoming meetings. I wish I could say yes or no, but we're gonna talk about it, and I'll say yes, we're pretty much gonna go hit for some things. I'm not sure what yet, but we're discussing it.
Any questions for Mark? Diane?
We've been busy. One of the things we've done since we met last is the Dunbarton Tuition Subcommittee met together. We did offer to Dunbarton an MOU that included students from Mountain View Middle School as well as Goffstown High School. Of course, the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, that's to tuition the students in, that as we go through this transition period when they move their students to Bow. So like I said, we did make an offer to make an MOU that included all students, because I don't know if you remember that we have voted and agreed that we would take any students and their siblings who wanted to continue to come to Goffstown. Unfortunately, the Dunbarton Board did not want to speak about the Mountain View students, so we are just looking at the Goffstown High School students who will be in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade next year. Those talks are coming along just fine, and I do expect that we will have an agreement within the next couple weeks. Interestingly, along the same lines, we did do a survey, or the Dunbarton Board did do a survey of GHS families, Dunbarton students who attend GHS, to see what their preference may be of school and who wants to stay in Goffstown, who wants to go. Out of 97 students, only 4 chose to go to Bow. So we will be retaining quite a few Goffstown students, or we expect to retain quite a few. SAU board met last night and did charge the subcommittee with starting the superintendent search. So we'll be working on that in the next few weeks. We'll be convening and getting that ball rolling to look for a full-time superintendent. One of the other pieces we have, unfortunately, we do need to hold a special election, and that's asking the town for permission to form the area subcommittee to negotiate with the town of New Boston to form a new area agreement. The deliberative session for that is scheduled for October 30th, with the election being scheduled for December 4th.
For when?
December 4th.
December 4th? Okay.
Yes. Other than that, we all know it's budget season. We expect the budget to be presented to us at this Monday's meeting, so if anybody wants to come or watch on TV, perfect. We'll be meeting October 21st, then again on Wednesday, October 23rd. We are scheduled then to meet again regarding the budget on October 28th and on October 30th. I spoke with Brian yesterday, and I think we're going to change it up a little bit. Usually on the first meeting, which would be this Monday, we would have the elementary presentation, and then the high school and the middle school on Wednesday, and then the following weeks be work sessions amongst the school board. I think what we're going to do is these first 2 are going to be the overview, and then we're going to have the principals in on the second week, so the 28th and 30th. If that changes, I'll zap out an email in case that's of interest to anybody. Shay, I know you were asking, which is why I wanted to reference that. Regarding the budget, last month I told you guys we could have it to you for November 4th. It's a Monday, and that's going to be when the school board votes on it. So if you're all right with Wednesday, we can get it to you on the 6th.
I don't have a problem with that. We're not meeting till the 13th.
Yeah. I knew it was early, but I did feel badly that I botched that date.
Yeah, that's fine. We're meeting on the 13th as for and that's a town presentation. I just want to make sure that the members got a chance to review it before we sit down and start hearing it. That way, if they have a question, they can. And I think if it's ready for Wednesday, we can go from there.
It does help. It helps to have a chance to look it over.
Yeah.
And then you can have your questions ready. But just kind of too, why I wanted to reverse the process for the board itself and have that kind of presentation done. So I think that sums it up.
I have a question on the agreement you made now. Is that based, when you make an agreement like that, do you contact other districts to see what they're paying and what they're charging?
What we did is, the first step of it, this isn't in the MOU, this is previously, we agreed to charge Dunbarton the tuition rate that they would have paid had the area agreement passed. And within that within the area agreement, it's a formula as to how you calculate the tuition. So what we did is we agreed to say, you know what, your tuition is going to be whatever it would have been had you chosen to stay. This step with the MOU is simply determining how it's going to be done, who the students are, what our agreement is as far as how we treat the students. And we would treat them as our own, like discipline-wise, grade-wise, what activities they can participate in. When the Dunbarton board needs to tell us how many students are coming, it outlines our terms.
How long does this last?
This is a 3-year agreement. I believe that's the last format. The original that we offered was a multi-year, I believe it was 5 because it was encompassing the middle school students as well, but.
Do we know if it's,
3.
Do we know if it's equal to or greater than what Bo's charging them?
It's gonna be based on whatever budget is that passed, because that's the formula, is when Goffstown votes in March, that budget that passes, that's the dictating number as far as what your daily membership is. That's the key figure there. How it relates, Bo had originally in their agreement, what they were charging Dunbarton was less than what their actual cost per pupil was. On average, it was about the same at our, it might have been a little bit less than what we charge, but it's very comparable.
And whatever happened with the discussion of the building funds and
We have not discussed that further. If that does, that would be a situation for legal, if you recall. That would be a legal issue.
but this agreement doesn't nullify any going ahead with that?
No, it does not.
Okay. Any questions? Brian, you have a question? Wow, this is gonna be a
Just
heck of a-
curious, Diana, so we have to form a new SAU because of Bo's departure?
Not
or-
SAU, it's area committee.
Oh, area
And
committee.
what that is a group to actually negotiate the new area agreement with just New Boston. It had previously been done with New Boston and Dunbarton. And now that Dunbarton has opted to educate their students in Bow, legally what we need to do is we need the voters' permission to form a new committee.
Any questions?
Will be a record.
What?
Going once.
I mean, I don't, next meeting is 11/13, and we'll have our budget books by then, and we'll have some questions.
Did we get any budget from the town? Did we go over that already?
It was the 4th, right? That was your,
Yes, we're,
if it's, they're again, it's a Monday, if they finish it up on the 4th, it'll be ready by Wednesday.
They'll just be emailed to us, or we're gonna get the binders, you'll send us an
Well,
email?
I'm sure there'll be a binder.
Okay,
we're glad we did
Yeah.
the binder.
because we wanna get it before we show up on the 13th, right?
Right.
So just, you'll send us an email and let us know.
Yeah, I'll be in Vegas, so hopefully.
Okay, so maybe you won't send us an email?
If I get an email that says they're ready, I'll do it, you know, but
Spending some of our money.
don't go there, buddy.
Whoa.
Anything else?
No.
Lee, you made a motion, did you?
I'll second
Motion
it.
to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Good night.